and welcome to Final Fights. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man that is currently wearing a beautiful bandana. It's Adam Hodgins.
You wear the bandana because it helps you both look tough and keep hair out of the food.
And
in
also,
the kitchen, there are no rules that are allowed to be broken.
Tommy Lee Jones. So not only was Steven Seagal looking great with his hair, not getting any. I love why he's on the boat, because he could either be like two things on the boat, so they had to put him on there. But I love Tommy Lee Jones' bandana in this movie. It goes from forehead to neck. It's all over the place, man.
His bandana work is great. And Mark, as a musician, I want to say the thing I didn't believe about this movie, one of the things that took me out of the movie was Tommy Lee Jones as a rock star.
Really?
Like it felt so forced to me. And he's a great actor. But I thought that like if you watch his performance of him on stage, like with the harmonica and doing all the stuff, and then watch his performance as Two-Face, it's almost the same bit.
Oh, he's dialed to 11 on this one.
Yes.
I see him more knocking out a great bass line than I do him playing the harmonica.
Well, yeah, I think that maybe it wasn't that he was the wrong rock star. I think he was in the wrong rock band. Like if he was in like a Rolling Stones and they had seen some road work. I just felt like his band was too young to be hanging with a guy who looked like Tommy Lee Jones.
It's a great point.
That's just what I see. I don't know how valid that is.
And it never did feel right to me. It never felt right. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But maybe because I just knew the twist and he's playing a role. So then I kind of just felt, oh, okay, he's playing a role. So then he doesn't fit in.
Yeah. Like that didn't matter, right? It didn't you didn't need to believe it, but watching it analytically, that's what I believe. Now, Mark, I want to talk to you about Steven Seagal for a second.
Uh-oh.
No, and again, it's not a criticism, it's an observation. Because Steven Seagal has made more money in movies than I'll ever make. He's a much better martial artist than I'll ever be. So this is not a slight on Steven Seagal. But I feel like in every other action star's roles of the 80s in that ilk, so you get like First Blood, where he's a drifter, society just doesn't like him, he's an outcast. Mm-hmm. When you get like every role that Van Damme's in, he's either homeless or a loner or an ex-criminal or he's dead and regenerate. Like he's even in Bloodsport where he's a soldier, like a military man, he's on the run from the military, right? Like it's not above the board. I feel like every one of Seagal's movie roles, he's like wildly celebrated by everybody.
Oh, in the world he's in. Correct.
In his character is not Steven Seagal, but his character is celebrated by everybody.
I like him battling with Commander Krill and the people in the kitchen. Like he's being insubordinate, and he only cooks for the general. And yeah, everyone adores him in this kitchen. Like they all love him so much, and they just and then when they talk about him, and then I mean, yeah, everyone loves him. Jordan Tate, she's like, I got to be with him. I would rather have bullets fly over my head than be someplace safe. Everyone's like, you don't know who this guy is. Well, I know. You know what's funny too is what Commander Krill played by Gary Busey's like, listen, this guy is good. Don't send these people in here. He's like, I'll go take care of him. Send 2 guys in there. Then he kills them. And then they send Krill in to do it. And then he's like, he'll be fine. We'll take care of him. I don't know what their tactics are on this boat. They're either, this guy's too dangerous, not dangerous. Let's burn his pies. I don't know.
There's something, yeah. But again, I feel like at any point in time, you could have called the president and been like, hey, George, I just wanted to say happy birthday, and you're doing a great job. And he'd be like, thank you, Casey. Thank you so much. You're the best. Like, I feel like that could be like an outtake from this movie, right? Like he's renowned as the greatest at whatever it is he's doing.
Oh, and he can, like, Jordan puts the president on hold while he's in a gunfight just so he can talk to them later on. That's the only person in the world that could do that. Does that make sense? Like, okay, wait, he's in a gunfight. We'll be put on hold. We'll go right back to Casey Ryback. And I want to tell you something about Casey Ryback or Steven Seagal. Yeah. I'm watching this knife fight. We're talking about final fights. We've already talked about the final fight in Under Siege 2, Dark Territory. But in this one, I was watching it, and Tommy Lee Jones is no slouch. He's in The Hunted. He knows how to knife fight. But between William Stanix and Casey Ryback, I'm watching this, and I'm thinking, these two are amazing. Stunt coordinator Conrad E. Palamisano, who worked with him on Marked for Death, Out for Justice, had worked with him before. He actually moved on to some gigantic movies, RoboCop 2, RoboCop 3, No Escape, Batman Forever. Hey, he went back with Tommy Lee Jones.
Back to Tommy Lee.
Whoa. Assassins, Conspiracy Theory, Lethal Weapon 4, Romeo Must Die. Hey, so you have a really big stunt coordinator. You have Steven Seagal at the height of his pomp. You have Tommy Lee Jones, who's already a really established character actor. I'm watching this knife fight, and I'm just thinking, this is real knife fighting. If I was in a back alley lot in some shady place where knife fighting was popular, this is what it would be like. But then I watched a 7-minute video that broke down the knife fighting in Under Siege. And normally I don't like these videos, but I do have a point here because they're looking at the knife fighting in a real knife fighting way. They're not looking at knife fighting in a movie fighting way. Because if you are in a real boxing match, and there have been some humdinger boxing matches, but there's a lot of straights, there's a lot of feints, there's a lot of hugging. It's not sometimes the most thematic. But when you are winging haymakers, leaving your feet, and landing 14 unanswered gut shots, that's cinema. And people love it. Actually, the most popular episode of the last year of Movies, Films, and Flicks is our Rocky III Final Fight episode. People love people winging punches at each other. So when this fight video broke it down, they just were like, well, why would you do that? If he did that, this would happen. And they just broke it. And then the final grade, the guy goes, I would give it an F. He's like, I want to give it a D, but he's like, Casey Ryback bit a knife and pulled it out of a man's hand. All that man would have to do is just slice. And so he's like, it's an F. This is an F knife fight. But when I was watching it, Steven Seagal made me believe that it was an A knife fight. And so you can't give this a real world grade because it's a movie. As a movie knife fight, I don't think this is an F. As a real world knife fight, it's an F.
Yeah, but I didn't go to like a back alley and watch you guys fight for entertainment. I watched Under Siege for entertainment and thoroughly entertained.
No, you are absolutely right. And I just think it's interesting seeing they graded it like it was a real world thing. But I just love that all the form was wrong in it. But while watching it, I just went, yes, Steven Seagal, this is perfect. You know, he was. So, does that make sense? Watching it, I thought it was going to get an A. Like someone's going to go, how's this as a real world knife fight? I'm going to examine it. Like, oh, it's A. This is like every form is right. Every stab is right. So I was a little shocked to see it get an F because I thought the 12 seconds of knife fighting and the 14 flips that Tommy Lee Jones does when he gets kicked once and goes flying about 47 feet.
Just sells it. Sells it like a champ.
But this is the biggest problem I have with it. Okay, Ryback wipes the floor with William Stanix. So in this fight with William Stanix, he gets his jacket, he gets his wrist, he cuts his chest. Yes, Stranix gets a little bit of an eyebrow cut, which is pretty good. I mean, that's pretty good for one of these fights.
It's better than the other guys who fought Casey Ryback. I
got a question after this. I got a big question for you. But Casey Ryback plunges his thumb into Stranix's eye and then stabs him in the head, which they say is the most believable part of the fight because there's some spots in the top of the skull where you can jam a knife.
Right.
This guy wiped the floor with Stranix, but he still resorted to an eye gouge. And you're just thinking like, you and I are boxing. Makes total sense to me. You and I are boxing, and I have landed 97 punches on you, and you are almost out, and then I just punch you in the groin. Like that's not.
Right. No, but Mark, the logic behind that, my friend, is again Casey Ryback was so close to a Mortal Kombat flawless victory, and then he got the eyebrow cut, and so the eye gouge. All the eye gouge was like, how dare you think? Like that was just a little vendetta. That was just icing on the cake.
How strong are his teeth?
I would say they are an 18.
Yeah. He bit through that knife.
Yeah. They actually had to get a prop knife for after he bit it because there was teeth marks in it.
I'm going to ask you a question. You ready for it?
I want it.
Okay. So you have two situations. You can either be William Stanix, who loses very quickly, but does leave a permanent scar on Casey Ryback, right? Yep. You slashed this man's eye, and he will always remember you for the rest of his life. And his teeth, who knows? And his tongue. But you got the floor wiped with you. Like, you got the floor wiped. Like, you were a mop. you got smushed. Or you can be Marcus Penn from Under Siege 2, who got completely shellacked. And I know that's the wrong word for shellacked, but I love that word, shellacked. You got completely shellacked, but you lasted 4 minutes. 5. So, okay, you go up against Casey Ryback and you give him a fight for 5 minutes. Or you give him a fight for 30 seconds and leave a permanent scar on his eyebrow. Which one would you rather be?
I'm going to say I'm going to be Under Siege 2. That because I don't want, let's say for some reason, the knife into the head and the electrocution of the control panel doesn't kill me. Let's say for some freak reason I survive those. They do some laser surgery. I want to be a forgettable villain. Like I want him to forget that we fought. I don't want him looking in the mirror being like, look at my eye. I used to be perfect. I don't want that. I don't want that hate on me.
Yeah, that's interesting. So if you survive a knife to the brain and a follow-up electrocution.
Right.
Because his knife stabbing is so amazing that he missed everything in the brain. The parts of the brain that he hit are the parts that hold on to meals that were mainly forgettable. So that's all you lose. Like that's what he knows.
Yeah. And
you survive it. So if you're walking by him in a grocery store, really nice deli though, because you got to have good meat for Ryback.
You got to have a good everything, and he's the guy that only walks on the outside of the grocery store. He doesn't go to any of the inner aisles with the produce food.
None.
It's only food element.
Oh wow, that's a beautiful thing. Nothing frozen. Wow, that's pretty amazing. I love it. So he's just going around. He's getting some really nice, he's got some nice potatoes.
Some Yukon Gold.
He's gone at the cheese counter. He's got some really interesting cheeses. He is going to make a wonderful dinner. He's ready to go. You walk by him and he goes, did I beat him up on a train? Nah. He's going to keep going. Or did he give me this scar above my eyebrow? You're done.
Done skis.
You're going to have a carrot fight and be stabbed.
You want to know why Ryback wasn't married by the second movie?
Why?
Because whenever he looked in the mirror, he saw that scar and said, I just don't have the confidence to approach a lady anymore.
Yeah, and I bet you that Jordan Tate noticed that.
Yeah, no, she was into him until the fight, and she was like, well, you got hit? Ugh.
TLJ lit you up? Come on now. I love TLJ.
We don't play that way.
I love how he loses his jacket, and then just his shirt, and everyone's like, you've gone crazy, man.
Now, Mark, I want to say something. Mm-hmm. I need the floor for a minute.
Uh-oh.
Because, I think you and I both, in our history, have tried to remain very positive about things. And being upfront and honest is important to both of us. And I want to be able to admit when I've made a mistake or spoken out of turn. So in our Dark Territory Under Siege 2 podcast for the final fight, I mentioned Casey Ryback, Steven Seagal's cha-cha hands, we call them.
Yeah.
He's constantly moving his hands in front of his face. And I was like, what? Like, it just looks so weird, and it's just dumb. I harped on it a little bit. So my 10-year-old girl is in Kempo Karate, and she's doing very, very well. And so we jokingly spar. So, you fists up, and then she comes at you, and she does her blocks, and I do the blocks, and then she kicks me in the shin. That's how every one of our little sparring matches takes place. We ha, and then she kicks me in the shin, and we laugh. She came at me today, like, putting up her dukes. And as a gag, I did the Casey Ryback hand moves. She was mesmerized. She had no idea what to do.
Yeah, because it's so unexpected.
She was like, "What is happening? I don't know." And I could have done anything I wanted, right? And I said, You know what? Hats off. I guess there's some method to his madness. Steven Seagal, I apologize.
Now I read the knife fighters are saying arm motion is good. You want constant arm motion.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like you want constant arm motion when you have the knife.
Yeah, I feel like you want constant stabbing when you have the knife.
I could see how that was mesmerizing and how unexpected it is because let's say you and I are boxers, right? Mm-hmm. And the person who trained us, his name is Mean Mad Dog Mitch McGinley.